Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Wano Yaji. Yes, I passed my G2. So if you're in Ontario, you know G is the knowledge test, G2 is the first road test, and G is the final driving license. Now I'm a new driver. I've moved a car before, but when you say drive, I've never driven because I've never owned a car before. Even when I was in Nigeria, I never owned a car. I think in 2011, I won a beauty pageant, Finest Girl Nigeria, that they were supposed to give me a car. But the organizers rubbed me off my crown because I refused to do kukiri movements with them. So they did not give me my car, you know. But I said to myself, I said, see, if I want to do anyhow, I go do anyhow on my way. It's just somebody they're going to force me to do anyhow because they want to give me car and carry their name and put on it. You understand? So I refused. And I told God that anytime it is, you're going to bless me with a car. When I was in Lagos, I tried getting a car, but things were a bit difficult. And I just felt like if I buy this car, I just might not be able to maintain it. And eventually, I did not even have enough money to buy the car. Every year, the money for the car will increase and increase, so I didn't buy it. Now, we'll go to UK, we got our first car. But then we knew we're not going to stay in UK. So I didn't think it made any sense to struggle and do driving tests on the right and then come to Canada and start trying to figure it out anymore. So I was like, you know what? Let me just chill. When we come to Canada, I would learn how to drive. Now, I came to Canada and now I'm officially a G2 driver. That one is called advanced driver. So what that means is that you can literally drive on your own. You don't need an experienced driver in the car. You can drive on your own. Then after, I think 2 years or maybe 8 months-ish, because I went through driving school, I will now be qualified to go for the G, and if I pass the G, then I'll have my driver's license. I don't need to do any test for it again. Now, how was I able to pass my G2 for the very first time as a new and a novice to driver? Now, when you come into Canada, learning how to drive and getting your driver's license is not as easy as every other place. I think even in the UK, you have to stay in the UK for 6 months before you are eligible to apply for your provincial license. What's the name of that license again? I think it's provincial, right? I've forgotten. But the learner's license in UK that you write your knowledge test and get. You have to stay in UK for 6 months to be able to get that. So when we got into UK, we got a car before 6 months. But my husband was using an international driver's license, which you're allowed to use in UK for 1 year. So after 1 year, you now have to do their own learners. I've forgotten the name. Huh? I can't remember the name. You have to do that and then you get your license, right? So that was what we used in UK. Then when we came to Canada, because he already have a valid driver's license. Now, when we came to Canada, our first point of entry was New Brunswick, Woodstock in New Brunswick, right? So in Canada, different provinces have different rules in regards to driving and all. You see how in UK, if you do your driver's license in Leeds, you can go to Kent with it, go to Leicester, like it's valid everywhere. No, in Canada, different provinces have their different rules to having driver's license. Now, we went to New Brunswick. How driver's license work in Canada? For me as a novice, I have to do the knowledge test. Then when I do the knowledge test, then it's called a G1. Sorry, when I do my knowledge test, which is the G1, which is you read road signs, rules on the road, and then you go and write an exam. You pass that. Once you can write your G, immediately you get into the country. But you have to wait 1 year to qualify to write the G2. That's to do the proper road test. So when you write that G and you pass, you are now eligible to start learning. So you can now go to a driving school or you can learn on your own. Your husband can teach you if he has a car and put you on his insurance. You guys can learn at home and all of those things. But you have to wait 1 year before you can do a road test for the G2 that I have done now. If you don't want to wait 1 year, the earliest you can do your G2 is in 8 months. And that is if you go through a driving school, which is what I wanted to do. Because number one, I don't know how to drive. So I really wanted to go through a driving school so that someone can put me through on everything I need. So I don't come here making mistakes. I hate it. So when in New Brunswick, however, we knew we're not going to remain in New Brunswick because my husband's job was in Ontario and we knew we're moving to Ontario from time. So I just felt like, you know, let me just do the knowledge test. Then when I come here, I'll be able to transfer that timing, because if you come to Ontario, you have to do another one, right? But instead of waiting, because I knew I had a baby, I was going to resume work, school runs, and I knew I needed to be mobile in Canada. And when I mean mobile, not my husband taking me from one point A to point B. I knew I needed to be mobile on my own. So I wrote my knowledge test sometime in August last year, and that was in Woodstock. My husband also did his knowledge test and driver. So how this thing, like I said, provincial upon provinces, province different from province. Oh my god, what am I saying? So when we're in Woodstock, because my husband already had a driver's license from Nigeria, what he needed in Woodstock was to do the knowledge test and then go straight ahead and do the G, which is the final driving license, and if he passes it, then they'll give him his G. So that was what he did in Woodstock. When we came to Ontario, even though you bring your driver's license from Nigeria, if they say they already have a driver's license from Nigeria, then they will let you do the knowledge test, which everybody does, and then you do a G2, because Ontario doesn't take there are some provinces that you can just change your license. Like if he came with a UK license, he actually registered to do his UK driving test, but he didn't get a date until he left. If he came with a valid UK driver's license, the one that he's done road test and everything, he would have just exchanged it. They exchange in certain countries, but Nigeria is not one of the countries that they exchange, so you have to do a test. Now for New Brunswick, you will do the test and get a G, but for Ontario, even if you do that test, they'll give you a G2, not a G. So he was not really interested, so he felt like, no, let me just do my process in Woodstock, that's in New Brunswick, and let's get this over with. However, because I don't know how to drive, I don't have a driver's license from Nigeria. Even if I did, like I said, I really want to learn the rules, so I'm not just on the road making mistakes, especially because I'm going to be carrying my princess at the back of this car. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm assuming things on the road. It's not nice. I can't be putting the life of my child at risk. So I felt like I should go through the proper channels, know everything that I need to know, and then go ahead with it, right? So when I came to Ontario, like I'm saying, I brought my knowledge test that I've done in New Brunswick to Ontario. So when I got to Ontario, they said they don't transfer knowledge tests. So I have to do another knowledge test. But the only thing they'll do for me is that because I already did a knowledge test in New Brunswick, they are going to add that timing to my timing in Ontario, but I still need to do another knowledge test. So I did another knowledge test in Ontario. I did that knowledge test sometime in February. So when I passed it, they transferred the knowledge I had from New Brunswick to Ontario. So the timing, so like I said, if you go through a driving school, you wait 8 months. If you don't go through a driving school, 1 year. So because I did the knowledge test in Ontario in February, ideally I will not be eligible to do a road test, which is a G2, until next year, February. Or if I go to a driving school, then towards the end of the year, 8 months from February. That's December, yes. 8 months from... No. Whatever it is, I'm not... February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Okay, October. That's what I know some people. So that will be October of this year, right? But I needed it earlier than that. So when they transferred the timing at the time I'd done and I came here, then the earliest I could do my driving was now in April, right? So I said, okay. So I went to a driving school. Now here in driving schools, what they do, they give you 30 hours of lessons, and that lessons is like telling you everything you need to know on the road signs, blah, blah, blah. And then 10 hours of road test driving on the road. I was so lucky. I got a really nice driving school that taught me all of these things, put me on the road. My husband also takes me around because we have a car, takes me around in the evenings to big car parks. There's this mall or maybe like an office complex that he built down where I live that has like a very big road parking spaces. So he took me there. Anything my driving instructor teaches me in the days I don't have driving lessons with him, my husband takes me on the road. I practice everything that I have to practice, right? And then we did those lessons, and then I was due to do my driving test in April, I think April 23rd. However, my driving instructor was not available, and I didn't want to go with my car because my husband will be working. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to use the driving instructor's car, and it's cheaper that way, if you would ask me. So we had to wait for him to travel and come back, and then we had the date fixed, and lo and behold, I went to do my driving test. So it's actually really, I don't think it's that hard, because it's not like my driving is like pro yet, but it's not hard. The G2 is, like I said, is like an advanced driving where they see that, okay, you now know how to drive. Most importantly, what they look out for in the G2 is that you know and respect signs, which is the stop sign in Canada, traffic light turning left. They hardly even do traffic light turning right, because most traffic light you can turn you can do a right turn on red, right? So it's mostly traffic lights turning left, so they will know how you respect the red signs and all, respect pedestrians on the road, basically know how to park when you go into the parking lot. So you have to do your reverse parking, you have to do your 3-point turn, which is like turning like a U-turn on the road. You have to do your uphill and downhill parking. So what they mean by uphill park is like you turn your steering to face your tires to face up the hill, just so when they say uphill park, because when you're parking and you're facing up the hill, you turn your tires to face the opposite direction of the curb, so that in case there's a wind or anything, your car just moves and then hits the curb. Oh god, so I'm sweating. And hits the curb, right? So you are not faced with any hazard and everything. And if you're facing down the hill, you turn your tires to face the curb, so that if there's anything that happens and the wind pushes your car, it just hits the curb. So you just want to be sure that you know one of all of these small details on the road, and then pass you on that, and then put you on the road to drive for like a year. Because I went through a driving school, 8 months time now, I will be eligible to do my G as well. So when you drive and do all of those things and they know that you're good with it, then they'll give you your G2. Then with the G2, you can now be driving, practicing, and eventually get used to the road. And then when you do your G, at that time is when they will now really test like you're driving per se, like going on the express, merging into the express. And also the one I've passed now is the G2. And I'm hoping to pass my G very soon. But I'm really excited because I know they say like I said, I'm a new driver. I know a lot of people that have done this test. Like when I tell someone that I've passed my G2, the person's like, have you been driving before? Have you been driving before? Have you been driving before? Like, no, I've not been driving before. Just started driving now, and I don't know. I'm just so excited that I passed my G2. So now, guess who's going to be driving this summer? Like, I'm going to be going everywhere. I told my husband as well, because he's always longing his autumn. I say, take me to the mall, take me to this. So right now, I'm like, you know what? Where are the car keys? I'm going out. Where are the car keys? I'm going out. And my birthday just passed, and I was telling people that I wanted a Range Rover. So maybe now I don't pass G2, I go get my Range Rover or my G-Wagon. Amen. From my mouth to God's ears. From my mouth to God's ears. And thank God this video is going on YouTube. So when I buy my Range Rover or my G-Wagon in the future, I will come back to this video and say, can you remember when I was saying I want my Range Rover or my G-Wagon? I go buy them, you know. And I'm just so grateful to God. I'm so happy that that is off the list for now, so I can actually do school runs with my baby, because my baby starts daycare very soon. I'm going to make a video about how I got a daycare for my child as well. My baby is going to start daycare. I'll be doing school runs, going to work. Like, I'm so excited. I feel really happy and proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. And I just want to say thank you, God, for helping me pass. Because that day I went with my driver and 2 other persons. 2 of us passed. 1 lady didn't pass. I felt really sad for her because she has to do it all over again. And we all passed and we're all smiles. And she didn't pass. And that was just because she ran a red. They don't take that for granted. You can't run a red. If you see a stop sign, you have to come to a complete stop. If not, you no go pass. Anyway, this is for me just saying thank you, God, for letting me pass my road test. I'm so excited, and thank you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my YouTube video. Thank you so much for liking, sharing. Always put on the notification bell so that when I post a video, you will be the first to know. And until my next one, bye.